Another glorious summer day. I think it's around 25 degrees today, and the sunflowers, as you can see, are really enjoying the glorious weather we're having. As I said, I've got a few varieties here, and they're just doing extremely well. When I first planted these, I wasn't too keen on planting them with the lemon trees in the barrels. I nearly took them out actually, but they seem to be beautiful, and I think I'll do it again next year. So you can see the sunflowers, the marigolds, and of course the lemon tree in the middle. Lemon tree has not got anything very close to its trunk, so I'm hoping that the companion planting won't affect it too much. Mandarins here were in the ground for a few years, really doing nothing at all, not dying but not doing anything at all, and decided to plant them in these barrels, and now they're thriving. I've actually got fruit growing on them now. Like I said, with the marigolds, they're not close to the trunk, but they are keeping the area nice and moist but not wet. More sunflowers near the back entry to the porch here, alongside the other one over there, as you can see, thriving, and I just love the look of it. It's just amazing. Over here, another lemon tree amongst the marigolds, a sea of marigolds. So they're starting to turn to seed, and I think my girls and I will start to collect these. As you can see, all this is seeds here, and we will start to put them into some brown paper bag, and have as many as we can for next year's planting. And I think I'm going to put it marigolds everywhere, any space that I have. They're really good to keep the weeds down too. I realised looking at these barrels, I didn't get any weeds growing within the barrels at all, and any weeds that did grow were thin and spindly, so they were easy to pull out. But I could probably count on one hand how many weeds I had in all of the barrels. Not many at all. The bamboo here, I think it's a golden bamboo. I got that when it was still just a root clump that someone pulled out. I think I got 5 clumps at the time, and this is one of them. It's probably I suppose quadrupled in size, but hasn't extended its footprint, which is great. So it definitely is a clumping one, but it is expanding slowly, and I quite enjoy what that brings. The apple tree. The apples were pruned just the other day actually, or maybe a week or so ago, to hollow out the insides a little bit. I'm not going with the vertical structure, I'm going with the open vase structure. And even from just a week, they've added more growth, and have just enjoyed that extra nutrients they're getting from the root ball to the limited amount of branches there are on each of the trees. So I did mention that they are all grafted, so I'm pretty happy with that. Over here, I like citrus trees, so I had another barrel here. This one is about 1200 I think in diameter and 600 high, and I thought, all my citruses are down near the house, and I had this one, and I had it in the ground for a while, and I thought, no, I think a citrus needs to be in a place that's highly and well drained, and it's just come back to life. A little bit yellow still, so I fed it the other day. I'm hoping that will take effect very shortly. Now I realised that the ground might not have been too fertile because the cucumbers didn't do too well out here, and they do tend to get a lot of sun, so I was a bit surprised about that. So it's got dynamic lifter and some trace elements, and I give it sea salt, and it's really doing well. And again, ladybugs everywhere, no aphids, no scale, Just a little bit of yellowness, not veiny yellow, but just yellow. But the ladybugs are everywhere. Going down to the espaliate, the apple trees. Again, I did a summer prune just the other day, just a light one. All the verticals that were vigorously growing, I decided to prune those down to the nearest fruit bud, or what looks like a fruit bud or spur, and just to encourage a lot more spur transformation and just bring down the height and to stop the vigorous vertical growth. I don't mind the laterals growing a little bit more vigorously, but not the vertical. So I'll see how that pans out. And that's again more sunflowers, and as I said before, the ladybugs are everywhere. So I don't have a lot of problems with pests this year as I did last year. Even the codling moth wasn't really that wasn't around, so I couldn't believe it. Going over here, just before I went on holidays, I had a lot of trees in pots. These 3 miniature apple trees, and I thought if I go away for the time that I was away for, they won't survive. So I had to find a spot and just plant them in the ground. And these 3 have survived with minimal care and seem to be thriving. So I think they may even stay there now, even though they're pretty close to the bamboo. These are the other 2 bamboos that I mentioned before out of the 5. Really quite healthy this year. Last year, through the drought, they lost a lot of leaves and they were pretty bare. This year they seem to be doing a lot better. Inside the dog run, or the chicken coop if you want to call it that, I planted another almond tree. I needed one to complement the one in the yard, which I'll show you in a moment. Again, full of neglect. I put a wire cage around it just to stop the dogs from biting the trunk, but neglected. But it seems to be thriving in this area. A lot of sunshine. It gets full day sun. Now that I'm home, I do water it quite a bit, but not too much pampering, just like these apple trees here. Over here, the pear trees and the nashies had some cherry slug, a lot of damage to the leaves down the bottom here, but once I sprayed with natural deterrent, they've now disappeared, and the new growth is lush and pest free and doing really well. Again, this gets a lot of sun here. There's underground irrigation here, so they do get watered. So I'm hoping before fall or before autumn that they will have a reasonable shaped canopy or tree. So during the winter months I can either graft on them, or they still look like a really nice tree without any leaves. Over here, the pomegranates, these 4 were deliberately planted here, but the ones on the wall over there, the 20 or so, which I'll show you now, were cuttings that I made a couple of years ago, and they were in pots. And last year again I went away for the Christmas for a very bit of a time, and I thought, well, they won't survive in pots without being watered, so I had to find a spot for them to be in the ground, and I quickly dug them into this location, thinking I'll remove them in the next winter and put them somewhere else, but they just love it here, and I think this is where they're going to stay now, and I'll probably go as high as the brick wall here, and I'll just keep them around that height as a hedge and see what happens. The other apricot tree that the almond tree that I mentioned is this one. I put it on its own here in the middle, and it does get pampered a little bit. So this is I don't know, doubled maybe in size, maybe tripled in size, and we'll see how that goes with the birds. Now you probably noticed I've got a lot of olive trees around the property. I do get a few that are give away to new homes because people have kept them in pots for too long, and they're sort of dying, and I bring them back to life, and then put them back into the ground. This was one of them as well. This is probably 6 months before that one, and as you can see, a lot of new growth, and it's come back to life. Now I'm hoping that the varieties are table olives, but yeah, look, I'm just hoping. Over here where the Buddha is, it's quite an interesting little location, going through this area here, which is the Tory Gates walk. I do want to put some rocks down on the ground, so it's like a rock path rather than just a weeded lawn, but that's in the future. Over here with the back of the Buddha, you'll probably see that there's an entry to the bottom. There's a beehive in there, and there's been a beehive in there for the last 3 years. So all these bees you can see in the background on the agapanthus, like this one and that one, and all the other ones that are around the place belong to that beehive, I guess, and doing a wonderful job pollinating. I did buy a proper beehive, which I'll show you in a little while, for them to swarm and separate the colony, but they haven't seemed to like it. Another apricot tree, 3 varieties of apricot trees. I don't know about you, but it's been a little bit windy the last few weeks, and this one over here, for whatever reason, snapped the branch just about here, so it's sort of changed the shape of the tree a little bit, but again, they're quite vigorous and doing really well. Over here are the 2 figs. Now the reason why they're here and haven't grown too much, although they've got a lot of fruit on them this year, is that they were over there where the pear trees were, and I was watching Real Photopia on the blogs, and George was saying how his concrete was cracked from the roots, and I thought if they stayed in that location just here, then in a few years time all that concrete pathway and the shed concrete would just be damaged from all the roots of these fig trees. So I decided to move them over here. They're still reasonably close to the shed, but not as close as they were, and I'm hoping that their roots won't make any damage. But I didn't see much new growth from the figs this year, so you can see there's no light green new growth anywhere. A lot of fruit, a lot of leaves, looks very healthy. I'm pretty happy with that, but I guess that's because I did move them late in winter rather than early winter, and this is the other one. So if I keep going around over here, the date palms I put in about 5 or 6 years ago, and they were about 1 foot high, so they're in sort of, I don't know, 40 centimetre pots, so not very big. And I have about 20 of these on the property now, and as you can see, they're probably about 15, maybe even 18 feet high, and the pineapple portion on the bottom is just getting bigger and thicker and really good. I quite like the date palm. It's one of my favourite trees. Another golden bamboo clumping one that's doing really well. This apricot tree is 1 year older than the ones you just saw, and the other day I pruned it from the inside, and with all this sunshine, you can see all the new growth already occurring, and I hope not to get any gummosis or anything like that from pruning it during summer. But I'm looking at the tree from here, and I can see an abundance of lady beetles on all the branches everywhere. Lady beetles are just in swarms this year for some reason. So back through here to the back end of the yard, through to the walk-in fruit fortress, and I won't go in there right now. I'll have another video on how they're going, So if you enjoyed the update tour, please press like and subscribe and pass it on to your friends. I would love for this channel to grow steadily and surely as I post more videos. Thank you very much.